I just finished a masterclass in China, as one does on a Saturday morning, for District 88 Toastmasters. It was a masterclass on the 4 steps to writing a winning speech, taking them through all the lessons and learnings that came out of my journey to becoming world champion. And it's such a privilege to share what I learned with aspiring contestants, but also quite a challenge doing it in new countries, foreign cultures. And there's one thing I want to speak about today's session that really stood out for me. One of the 4 steps I teach in the 4 steps to writing a winning speech is you need to fill in the gaps for your audience. You need to think about, what do they need more clarity on? What do they need to understand? How can you not lose them with unnecessary jargon or long-winded stories that confuse them? It's a really important part of good communication, not just contest speaking. And what really stood out for me with this masterclass was that the organizers, in the lead up to it, reached out to me 2 weeks ago and said, are you using any video content in your speech? And I said, yes, I do. I use examples of previous world champions, giving examples to really let people tangibly see the techniques I'm talking about. And so they said, please, can you send us those videos? We would like to include Chinese subtitles and make sure that our audience can follow easily. I was so touched by that little bit of extra effort when you're considering the audience, considering the possible gaps for them. Watching all these different English-speaking world champions might be hard to follow. And so I received all these wonderful videos back with Chinese subtitles. They've even created a version of my world champion speech with Chinese subtitles, which I will upload on YouTube. But the extra piece they did was, in any of the videos, is there was a cultural reference to even something like I talk about fairy tales or, princesses kissing frogs. Then they had orange subtitles giving a little bit of cultural context, because that's not necessarily something that's understood in their culture. So this is an opportunity for all of us to learn from. When you have to communicate to an audience, how can you fill in the gaps for them? How can you understand what their level of understanding is, the level they're coming in at, and make sure that your communication crosses that divide? So a huge shout out and a thanks to District 88 in China, to Stephen and his team for filling in those gaps so powerfully for your audience. And it is a reminder to me that you can never spend enough time considering your audience when you work on a presentation. I'm Verity Price. I look forward to keeping in touch with more tips and tricks on how to find your voice, how to find your power, and how to speak so that people listen and you present with power every time.